Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino here on a Football Friday. 3-hour banger lined up for you today, including Bob Condotta, who has spent many years covering the Seattle Seahawks live from the Bay Area, and that's coming up in 30 minutes. Adam Chernoff on the program in 90, his thoughts and analysis on the big game. How about this? Duff McKagan, bassist. You may recognize the name. Guns N' Roses on the show in 2 hours. Well, what are we doing talking to him? He is from Seattle, lives there today, is a diehard Seattle Seahawks fan. He loves fantasy football, and they are touring again beginning in May. I can't wait to talk to that guy. As you said yesterday, no notes fresh. You could go in, do an hour with him, no problem.
Yeah. You're good friends. Go back to your time in Anaheim in the gym when you saw him at the hotel gym. Hey, how you doing? Mr. Brownstone. Okay. Big gulp. Yeah, can't wait to talk to him.
Ryan Kramer on the show. I don't know if we're going to have time. And Ryan's awesome. He's going to have some long shot bets. I don't know if we'll have time to sneak this in with Duff when he joins the program. I will say, beginning of the show, if we have enough time, I want to tell him that when Lorraine and I adopted a baby boy back in the summer of 2024, like we knew we were going to name him Sebastian, right? But we still wanted to run it by the birth mom. And so when we flew back, like the day that we got to where we adopted him from, they're like, here you go. He's yours. I'm like, do we just leave with him now? Like, he's our baby? Yep, that's the story. Okay. So then a couple of days later, we met the birth mom, her sister, and the adoption agency woman who was awesome in the whole process. We had dinner, and we're talking about names. And so we knew it was going to be Sebastian. We wanted to go Sebastian Axel, but we didn't know if that was too extreme. And then we're talking to the birth mom about, like, names that she had in mind, and she wanted to name the baby Alexander after her brother, like the middle name. And they were like, interesting, that's very close. And then we're talking to her, and dinner's like 2 hours. Eventually we said, like, what kind of music did you like growing up? She goes, well, I swear to God, first words out of her mouth, my mom loved Guns N' Roses, and I listened to it all the time when I was younger. Like, bingo, there's the name, Sebastian Axel. And she loved it, and that's the name of our little boy who's going to be 2 months old coming up in April.
All right.
I want to tell Duff, we were thinking Duff or Slash, but that might have been a little too overboard.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Get ready. Get your tickets. They're coming here in August.
I'll be there.
The Guns N' Roses World Tour. Go get them, guys.
Look at this today, huh? Let's go.
There you go. He just had a birthday. His birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Still doing it at 62. What were the odds?
No kidding. Okay, so I think we have to start by addressing what took place on the show yesterday and tied it into the NFL honors last night, because the odds, if you missed the show, the odds plummeted live when we were on the air on Teteroa McMillan to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It went from minus 20,000 to like minus $3. Now, minus $3 is still a pretty heavy favor. Doesn't mean, and it's not a game. It's an award, obviously. So the votes were in many, many weeks ago. But they were like, does somebody know something? And it was funny how, Paul, you kept dropping the entire time. It was like climbing down the ladder. And Chuck was down to plus 190. Like, is he going to do this?
My God. They just played games.
And they played games. It was never close.
It was a blowout. The only thing I could think of is maybe one person reached out to a couple voters, word around the campfire, whatever, that maybe a couple voters said, yeah, I'm voting for Chuck. And they said, okay, well, I've talked to so-and-so and so-and-so this week, and they told me what they're going to do. Other than that, how does it make sense other than steam chasers, right? Because it was a total blowout, and it was never in question that McMillan ran away with it. So
there was only actually, and we were asking the question yesterday, will we get an upset? I was making the case that I thought Coach of the Year could be closer than the odds market. It wasn't. It was Vrabel in a runaway. The next closest guy was actually Liam Cohen. And Ben Johnson got one vote?
I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense.
What world are we living in here, folks?
Yep. Again, when you talk about awards, to me, the schedule is a big factor. And the fact that they played the easiest schedule for a playoff team since 1999 and one of the easiest schedules since the 70s, that's part of the discussion. He did a great job. He's a good coach, but they were favored in 11 games before the season started. No one saw this coming with Chicago, and certainly that they would win a tough division, play a tough schedule, and how he did in a 180 and changed Williams. From everyone said a bust, can't play, whiffed on the pick. You know what? He's pretty good. But I don't understand how Ben Johnson didn't get credit for everything, that the complete turnaround. in Chicago.
But
Vrabel did a great job, but the schedule's big. And like we said for 2 months straight, the schedule has to win the day in the MVP argument. It's got to win out. Who you acquire the stats against and who you play has to matter, and it did.
yeah, but Paulie, that was razor thin. Stafford was not a runaway.
Well, I think it got close because, so I guess the $9 was off. But I think what happened Monday night in Atlanta was big. But also, you can't have to handicap the voters. Number one, nobody got robbed here. Number two, stop with the seed crap. Oh, two seed against a 5 seed. The only reason the Rams are a 5 is because the NFL's got a Mickey Mouse format.
Correct.
Most people thought the Rams were the best team in the league or the second best. And the reason why'd they get a 5? Special teams. Oh, by the way, he scored 37 and 27 in the 2 games in Seattle.
Yeah, and by the way, so people are also telling me that, because I have a problem with Josh Allen getting I know people lost their minds last night. Sam Monson came out on Twitter and he actually admitted that he was the guy that voted for Justin Herbert.
Uh-huh.
I think there should be a bigger outrage on Josh Allen getting 2 first-place votes than Justin Herbert getting 1.
I thought the same thing.
Right, so you're going to vote for...
I don't agree with it at all, but I could see the case a little bit for Herbert because
Sure.
so many guys were hurt in the off. You saw how bad the offensive line was in the playoff game.
Oh, it was every single week the guys getting murdered back there.
And he was dealing with a bad OC. So
Right.
Allen doesn't win the division. He loses at home to the Patriots. He was awful against Philly, cost them the game. He was horrendous against Houston. He was bad against Atlanta.
And then
how do you do that?
Right, you have a guy who won that division with better numbers, and 2 people voted for Josh Allen. That's unacceptable, in my opinion. But you're also going to hear everything, right? So when I tweeted that out, other people are saying, come on, guys. One person responded by saying, if Stafford played on the Bills, it'd be 7-10. I've heard everything now, right?
Okay.
And then another Bills fan, I get it, you're going to back your guy Josh Allen, told me that everybody on the team is marginal, including the running backs. You just said that the league's leading rusher, James Cook, is marginal. That's the end of you having an opinion on this then. Stop it, because James Cook is phenomenal. And he would start basically anywhere in the league.
Yeah. I thought Monson's breakdown was horrific. Well, a couple linemen went out in the Monday night game, and then Stafford started turning the ball over.
Right.
Okay. He put up ridiculous numbers for a 6-week stretch, with like a 20-2 touchdown INT ratio, and put up great numbers during the season. And if it weren't for the special teams, they would have been the 1 seed. But I also said this too, and you got to handicap the voter. I think a big thing was this is like his last hurrah. The big announcement was he announced he's coming back, but it's a guy who's at the end of his career who's never won an MVP against a guy in his second season.
Right.
I think that also helped Stafford get the MVP.
But here's my takeaway on it is this. You heard a lot of people, Paulie, say that they're going to be dying to give it to Matthew Stafford because he's never won it before.
Yes.
And he might be on the way out.
Yeah, we've seen it in other sports,
I look at it the exact opposite way because McDonald never had a chance to win Coach of the Year. Kubiak never won Assistant Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
And the way that I think that it looked at, I looked at it anyway last night, was they were actually dying to give it to the Patriots. And I don't know if the East Coast bias factored that in or not. Vrabel won Coach of the Year and Josh McDaniels Assistant Coach of the Year. I believe first time that's happened, only other time it happened was in 2018 with Andy Reid and Nagy.
Okay.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost gave the award to Drake May. So to me, they weren't dying to give it to Stafford. They were actually dying to give it to Patriots players and coaches last night. And that's not okay by me.
No. Are you concerned now? This cousin Sal tweets fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
Belichick snubbed. Kraft snubbed. Brady turns on the Patriots. The Patriots fans turn on Brady. May loses the MVP. Patriots win by 21?
Yeah, sure.
That feels like it, right?
That's how it'll go. And then the players are going to be talking about it after the game.
Yeah. What a week. What a week that we've had. Oh, man.
So I wanted to point out quickly on that. Every favorite got there. The closing favorite got there. However, we also learned this, that we can get massive overreactions in these betting markets. And the overreaction was when we were screaming about it on the air after the Atlanta game on Monday night, late. There's no way, no how Stafford should have been in the 3-1 range to win the MVP.
Yeah, May got to $9 during the game.
Yep.
Outrageous.
And that was a humongous overreaction. And from that standpoint, we were able to capitalize on it.
How about Offensive Player of the Year? McCaffrey was second.
Second.
He almost caught JSN.
Yeah.
That's another big surprise.
And I also wonder, like, how much the late season games factored that in. Because what if McCaffrey doesn't drop that pass near the goal line in Week 18 on Saturday night from Brock Purdy? What if he scores a touchdown there instead and they somehow win the game and they win the 1 seed? Again, votes have to be in a couple of days after that week.
Yeah.
Does he win? What if Ben Johnson doesn't drop that game on Monday night in a shootout to the Niners and they don't lose to the Lions? Is that the reason why he got 1 vote? It's outrageous to me.
I agree. JSN was 70-1. Yeah, almost.
Was he that high?
1,800 yards. And again, his prop was 950 before the season. So the questions about what this offense is going to look like, how are they going to score, how Darnold ended the season, what a job Kubiak did, and McDonald. And he was 70-1. Stafford was 35-1. And I'll run them all down and win-lose. But McCaffrey was only 3-1 comeback player of the year. He was right there with Dak.
Right. I know Schlesinger was a big one, and we talked about that on this show and Pot of the Futures with JVT early on in the season.
Yeah. JSN was your big boy, though. I mean,
70,
who saw
huh?
that coming? Wow. Yeah.
I believe I saw today that at one book they had 102 players listed. He wasn't even one of them.
I was just going to say that. Yes, I saw the same thing. Well-known book, didn't even have him listed.
That is wild.
Sure.
We're going to dive into the game coming up next. And reports of a leak moved a novelty prop significantly overnight and into the morning. Buckle your seatbelts. We'll run down the info for you coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Paulie, what do you think about the Patriots taking a deep shot right away first series? Because so much talk with Drake May's shoulder going back to last week. It's still a thing up there in the Bay Area right now. And they just come out and say, okay, they're probably not going to see this one coming. Let's take a 50-yard shot down the field. And then that way they can be like, ooh, boy, looks pretty good. Maybe not going to be a problem today.
Yeah, that could be part of the game plan anyways, because he's so good with the deep ball and so accurate. Yeah. Number one on deep throws outside the numbers, QBR of 98. Seattle's got a nasty defense, but the one takeaway from those 2 games to close against the Rams had 12 explosive plays against them. So if you're going to take shots down the field, and you saw some of the success that Puka had in both games in Seattle, maybe that's what the Patriots decide to do, and hit on a couple, and who knows, maybe there's another flea flicker to Mac Hollins again. But I would think that that's something they could do, and McDaniels is an excellent coach.
I saw a note today with some of the novelty props from Bet Online. They've been doing this for a long, long time, the anthem stuff, but beyond that, the Gatorade, the halftime stuff, other songs as well. And the person in charge of it over there, of sending out the releases and everything, said that usually by this stage of the game, we have a lot of lopsided action for the halftime or anthem props, but he goes, not this year. Balanced overall on pretty much all of it. The anthem's gone up and down, settled in, and so it's not like completely leaked at this point. However, they were also offering which artists will be played first going into the break. They did this because of Seattle involved. It's in the Bay Area. A lot of grunge bands. Pearl Jam was the short shot at plus 150 when they open it up. Nirvana 2-1, Alice in Chains 4-1, Soundgarden 8-1, the long shot. And they're claiming there must be some sort of a leak because Soundgarden's down to minus 150. They went from the long shot to the odds-on favorite to be played first during the game.
Map it all out. Okay, we're playing Black Hole Sun going to break, and word gets out, and they hammer it with their $50 bets. Incredible.
That's exactly right.
I would say that, though. I mean, I would love to bet on Black Hole Sun is the song that they play going to break.
Yeah, I would.
As the sun sets, or do something like that.
Yeah, they're not going to do like Spoon Man, are they? They won't do Outshined.
Now, how does that leak? How does that go 8-1 to -150?
Well, again, that might take a
that's-
couple of people just being like, hey, I'll take the 8-1 in Soundgarden. Like you said, they're
right.
not taking big limits on it. Also saw some other good numbers here on Drake May. 7th All-Pro quarterback to face the #1 scoring defense in the Super Bowl. The previous 6 went 1-5. Only Joe Montana won. When they beat Denver back in 1989, what did he do in that game? 5 touchdowns. I can't wait. They were running this a lot during the NFL Honors Show last night. I can't wait to see that documentary coming out about the 49ers. Because the longer we are removed from the 80s 49ers...
You better watch it. Yeah, I know. I want you to watch the Cowboy one.
And the 90s Cowboys.
Great.
The more we forget like how great those teams really were.
Bill Walsh, genius as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, so I like Seattle 23-17. I think it would be even lower scoring than that. I think Myers can have a big role in this game. Take it in. We might not see the Super Bowl like this again. 80-1 against 60-1. And there were bigger numbers out there on the Patriots after they lost to the Steelers. So an incredible turnaround in what Vrabel's done. And then who expected this out of Seattle? But I just think the defense will be the difference. Force a couple turnovers. Sam can be okay. There's a big edge for Seattle in special teams. And I think if Sam plays clean, they're going to win the game and it can be comfortable. But the thing that concerns me is that is a very popular opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people expect Seattle to win and comfortably. Yet you see what the point spread is, only 4.5. So I also like to be on the same side as the books. You know what they want, nothing to happen, low scoring, and I think it goes under the total as well. But I think it could be, I think the first half is enormous as well. As we've talked about for about 2 months straight here, how the Patriots haven't trailed at the half since week 3 against the Steelers. And this incredible run that they're on in the first half, where they're either have a nice lead or worst case, they're tied. That's great job by Vrabel and as well as the organization that they always get off to a hot start. But I would think if they have issues running the ball and there's a path there for Stevenson, I don't know how many opportunities Henderson's going to get, and I don't know what they can do in the passing game against this defense. But number one, can they protect May after you saw what Campbell failed to do and the issues he had in the playoff games, and you're going against Lawrence, and we've talked about his props all week too, that Lawrence could have a big game.
One of the biggest prop bets I have made so far has been on Seahawks, I guess, Swiss Army knife, Rashid Shaheed, special teams guy. Great trade by this team before the deadline to bring him in from New Orleans. Using him in the air, obviously, took a shot deep to him against the Rams in the NFC title game to begin things. They also like to use him on end arounds and a little bit in the ground game.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what my bet is somewhat based on this incredible breakdown from our buddy Paul Charchian, specifically on Shaheed rushing against New England's defense with us last week.
But I've got a betting angle on Shaheed, if I can throw it around for you.
Of course.
And it's an oddball one. It's Rashid Shaheed over 3.5 rushing yards. So get this. And in some ways, this bet's just this simple. I'm just going to give you, I'm going to drown you in stats in a minute, but just these two. Patriots allowed the most wide receiver rushing yards out of any team last year in the regular season. The most wide receiver rushing yards, that was the Patriots. And since his trade to Seattle, Rashid Shaheed leads all wide receivers in rushing yards. So, I mean, you could just stop there, but you guys know me. New England allowed 8 wide receiver rushing yards per game. 8. We're trying to get to 3.5 rushing yards for Rashid Shaheed. The Patriots allowed the second most yards per carry by wide receivers, 9 yards per carry. So really, we just need him to get the 1 carry. He's very likely to turn it into well over 3.5 rushing yards. So will Shaheed get 1 carry? Patriots allowed the 6th most wide receiver rushing attempts at 1 per game, and Rashid was 3rd in rushing attempts across the entire league. Rashid's gotten at least 1 carry in 8 of the last 11 Seahawks games, basically the 11 he's played since the trade deadline. And he had 2 carries 2 weeks ago against San Francisco. Last thing I'll mention, if he gets the 1 carry, one of the other reasons you can feel good about this is Rashid, the Seahawks had the 5th worst wide receiver stuff rate. So they don't tackle wide receivers when they get the opportunity. So there you go.
That actually exists?
That actually exists. Yes, I found that stat. So wide receiver run stuff rate.
The Patriots have the 5th worst stuff rate for wide receivers. Great breakdown there, super hardcore. My bet is this. Again, the Westgate opened up. And for those of you coming to Las Vegas, getting access to the Westgate props that they have, and maybe other books have this as well. They offered first rushing attempt by Shaheed. How many yards will that be? It opened 4.5. It was bet all the way down to 1.5, and I think the reason why is because it's a loser if he doesn't get a single rushing attempt. But I think based on all of that Charch was saying, and the fact that only once this year, from me looking at the box scores, did he go under his first rushing attempt of 1.5 yards, and it was plus 110. So I fired away on that again. Shaheed first rushing attempt over 1.5 yards at plus money.
You have all this time to game plan, and I think Kubiak's going to show off, too. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple end arounds, if a Cooper Kupp pass or razzle-dazzle flea flickers for both sides. And I think it's also the ultimate I told you so game, where if Seattle wins comfortably at sea, New England didn't play anyone, they caught a lot of breaks, Collins got hurt, Knicks got hurt, injuries with the Chargers, or it's told you Darnold imploded, didn't play well, whatever,
sure.
in the pressure. So I could see Milton Williams having a big game as Bradford, the right guard, had a horrible pressure rate in the playoffs, and Sam, number one in turnover-worthy plays when pressured, and led the league in turnovers. So as great as he's been and how awesome he was in the NFC title game, maybe New England forces some turnovers, and that's why it goes back to the other side, why Maya's got to be clean too. 2 interceptions and 6 fumbles in the playoffs. The defense has been great, but the last time a team made the Super Bowl doing what New England failed to do on offense, which was 18 a game, was the 79 Rams. So the Patriots' defense has carried them to this point, playing well, forcing turnovers, and turning them into points.
What's the only path in this matchup that you can't see happening?
What the books don't want, 34-31 Patriots?
Yeah, I can't see a shootout. I would
And all
genuinely
these
be
guys
surprised
scoring
by
touchdowns?
that.
Yes.
Yeah, and if it's
Right.
not just, maybe we can get points, but it's special teams and defense. That actually would not surprise me. What would surprise me is if we have 900 yards in this game, May and Darnold are on fire the entire time, and like both running attacks work. It would just be the exact opposite of what we've watched and what the numbers would tell you with how good the defenses has been.
Yeah.
But we also,
Yeah.
if again, you go back to certain Super Bowls, if you go back to the Patriots-Rams the second time around, the only scenario that you couldn't see happening in that game was a low-scoring game. We got 13-3.
Yeah.
And the Rams were 400-1 to score 3 points in that game. And that, by the way, that result changed the odds for the exact number of points scored for these teams forever. Like, you won't see many results like higher than 100-1 now, from looking at various books anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to play any exact score at long shots? Like you said, Seahawks 23-17. You play it both ways. It's got to be a pretty decent number.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't look at the squares yet to have it memorized, but that's going to be, I could see a lot of field goals and maybe some turnovers. And I think it's fun to take some of those long shots, too, because strange things can happen in Super Bowls.
We have a guest coming up who has covered the Seahawks for several years. We'll ask him if they think that Shaheed's going to get a rush or two. How concerned are they with Nick Emenwari's ankle injury? And what's the biggest problem they're going to have with New England on Sunday?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We will concentrate on the Seahawks here as we head out to the Progressive guest line. Bob Condotta joins the program, who has covered the Seahawks for a long time. He's up in the Bay Area for Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. Bob, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Sure. Yeah. How you guys doing?
Lot to get into, Hugh. Very, very well. Let's begin with this. And he was up for Defensive Rookie of the Year last night. Rookie Nick Emenwari had a terrific season, obviously hurt the ankle earlier this week. What do you know about the status of him as we're now 2 days away?
Yeah, Emenwari talked to everybody yesterday and said he doesn't think it's that bad. He's confident he's going to play. So, we'll see. They're going to have to release a game status report here pretty quickly, and we'll see where they list him, if it's questionable or doubtful or whatever. My hunch is that he'll be listed as questionable, which means he's going to play. But the question then is, how much does he play? He obviously has. He's got kind of a hybrid role where he does several different things for them. They can kind of work around it a little bit. They had to earlier in the year when he missed about 4 games. stick Ty Okada in there, move Kobe Bryant around, maybe some, move Devin Witherspoon around some. So, they at least are sort of familiar with having to play some games without him and figuring out how to, they've had a lot of injuries in their secondary this year, actually. So they've had a lot of games they've had to sort of mix and match and figure out what to do. And Mike Macdonald's shown he's pretty adept at doing that.
Much has been made about Campbell's issues on the O-line, and this is a great Seattle pass rush. Do you expect them to get after May and force him into mistakes Sunday?
I mean, they're certainly going to try. They were the best defense in the NFL this year, and part of why they were is they were typically able, pretty able to do that. Mike Macdonald, again, is, he's earned a reputation for being really good at being able to sort of scheme up opponents, figure out what's working, and then kind of dial that in a little more and trying things early in the games to test opponents and see what they're good at. So I certainly think they'll try to do that. They're not a real heavy blitz team, so it's not necessarily about bringing more pressure, but just sometimes kind of bringing some different looks and trying to go at it that way. So I doubt they'd necessarily revert to suddenly, blitzing all the time, but I do think that they'll do some things for sure. If they think there's a questionable or a part or a weakness on the other team, they'll definitely probe that.
Bob, a common narrative going into this game for the last, 10, 11 days has been, well, defenses are going to rule the day. Probably going to be a low-scoring game. Are you on that side of it as well?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, every time I think it might be, the Rams game obviously turned out, both the last two Rams games turned into be huge score fest, but the Rams are a great offense, and I don't know if the Patriots are quite that. So, yeah, I'm going to pick a little bit of a slightly lower scoring game for sure than what the NFC title game was. Again, you've got two really good defenses and one really good defense, obviously, in the Seahawks. So, I definitely think that's more the way to go.
I think this speaks to both of how great they are. But what JSN did and Kubiak coaching, how surprised you are the year JSN had, and that you still know where the ball's going, but you can't stop it?
I can't say I predicted 1,700 yards, but I'm not surprised. I mean, he caught 100 passes last year. So, he caught 100 passes and had 1,000 whatever yards last season. So you knew he was on the up and up, and after they traded DK Metcalf and traded Tyler Lockett, that was the plan. I mean, the plan was he's going to be our number one receiver, and we're going to target him as such. And, so obviously Clint Kubiak was really able to get that done and make that work, make that pay off for them. And then Sam Darnold, I think you might have had a quarterback who was a little bit more adept at some of the deep passing stuff. Geno Smith was a really good quarterback for them too. But I think Sam Darnold's strengths for sure are playing in an offense like that and being able to hit Smith and Jigba on some of the deep passes like that. And so they certainly were able to take advantage of that this season.
Was the 4 INT game by Darnold in LA, a game in which they nearly pulled off, had Myers made that kick at the buzzer? Was that kind of like one final wake-up call where he thought and maybe told you guys, I can't be responsible for the guy losing the game?
I'm not going to say it was a wake-up call. I mean, I think Sam Darnold knew I can't throw 4 interceptions in a game already. But I would say that what by all accounts sort of happened in that game a little bit was that he had played the bad game against the Rams in the playoffs the previous year. The Rams had really gotten after him by pressuring in that game. In this game, they didn't pressure as much. They kind of played it a different way. And they've kind of dropped back in coverage a little bit more. And they tried to fool Darnold a little bit. And Darnold I think, felt susceptible to that on a couple of those throws in particular, where I think he thought they're bringing pressure and they didn't, and I've got to get rid of the ball fast. And he instead threw the ball quickly into spots where the Rams were dropping into coverage when he wasn't expecting it. That was totally what happened in the 2 picks he threw in the game in Seattle against the Rams later in the year as well. Chris Shula is a very good defensive coordinator. Definitely was able to figure out some things, I think, that fooled them a little bit. And I think Darnold would even admit in that first game against the Rams that there was a couple times he needed to not do that. He needed to go ahead and take a sack, and in the game against the Rams last year, I think he took the 9 sacks, and I think that got into his head a little bit. I think there's a Rams scheme thing for sure that has worked against him a little bit. I haven't seen other teams necessarily do that against him, so I don't know that that's something. I'm sure the Patriots obviously are going to look at everything and try to do the same things. And if you can catch him off guard by dropping a defensive lineman into coverage, that was one of his interceptions. Teams try stuff like that all the time. But Darnold one time just threw the ball right to the defensive lineman, and when obviously as he admitted later, I needed to just go a different place with it. So I don't think it was any wake up call. I mean, I think every quarterback knows I can't be throwing a bunch of picks, but it's just a matter of figuring out what it is that team is doing and not falling prey to it. And certainly that's going to be a big thing in the Super Bowl is Mike Vrabel's obviously a very good defensive coach, and they've got a very good secondary, and I'm sure they're going to try some things to see if they can force him into something, especially early in the game.
Their run defense is excellent. Do you think they can get Walker going early on against the Pats?
Well, they're going to try because, he's about all they have at running back with the situation with Zach Charbonnet being out and, not a whole lot behind him. They do have Cam Akers, who has started the Super Bowl before, so I would expect they'll bring him off the practice squad, and now having a little bit more time than they had previously to kind of integrate him into things. He hasn't played much this year since they signed him, but now, with the 2 weeks and everything, without Charbonnet and kind of knowing that, I think maybe it'll be a little bit easier to go that route and maybe work him in a little bit more. So it'll be interesting. But for sure, I mean, Ken Walker's their bell cow running back, and they're definitely going to try to get him going.
So you think Akers might have some snaps similar to Halani in this game?
All I'm saying is someone else is going to have to get a couple of snaps somewhere, and I just think it might be him just because he has played in a Super Bowl before, and I just think now that they've had more time. They signed him in late November, and then he apparently got hurt a little bit or something, so he sort of it took him a little bit of time to kind of work him into some things. And I'm just theorizing that with the couple weeks off, he could be a guy that maybe they use instead of Halani a little bit, but I don't know for sure. They like George Halani a lot too. I'm just kind of basing it more on the experience angle. And they signed Cam Akers for a reason, right? So
yeah, sure.
At some point, I would think he might play, but I don't have any inside info for you on that.
Fair enough. Before you came on, Bob, we were just talking about how they love to use Shaheed in the ground game as well. I think in 8 of the 11 games, he got at least 1 carry. Do you think he is going to get another carry in this game, maybe part of the game plan that way?
Yeah, for sure. It has been an effective thing for them, and maybe they just dip in their Super Bowl pass, right? I think the second play of the Super Bowl they won against against Denver was Percy Harvin on about a 35-yard end around, which they always pointed to as one of the key plays in the game, and kind of getting the Broncos off guard a little bit. So, maybe they'll try to copy something like that. But for sure, I mean, as you point out, it's something they've done quite a bit. Try to do it a play or two here or there every single game. Keep the defense honest. So, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Very good. You can follow Bob on X. He's at bcondota, Condotta. Bob, thanks so much for the time. We know that you're slammed up there covering the Seahawks. We appreciate it, and have a good day on Sunday.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Has covered the Seahawks for a long time, up with the Seattle Times on the Progressive guest line.
A Shaheed and an Akers carry is enormous for that prop, over 7.5 rush attempts.
No doubt. Oh, by the way,
especially if you get a tush push.
I got to tell you, when he was talking about Akers like there and brought him up like out of nowhere, if this turns into a blowout, last touchdown Cam Akers came into my mind as he was talking.
All right.
And I'm thinking like that because so many people again are predicting the Seahawks blowout.
Well, he also made a great point too. They'd get pressure on the quarterback without blitzing. 5th best pressure rate, 6th lowest blitz rate. And it goes back to low scoring game. Check it down. I don't have time to throw. Check it down to the running backs. A lot of receptions there. And who makes that big mistake or has that big turnover? And is it Lawrence wrecking Campbell? Is it Williams getting to Bradford? Is it something like that? Coming with a big play. Is it Gonzalez making a big play on JSN? Something like that. There's a lot there, and I know there's a good article about how Seattle dares you to take the safe checkdowns as well. And the more I think about it, the more it's got to be a lot of touches for Stevenson and his props.
First book I'm looking at right now, Cam Akers' last touchdown, 65-1. You want to dance?
I like your angle, yeah.
Take a flyer?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
All right. I'll look around, see what else I can find on that as well. Win-lose is up next.
Oh, boy.
A monumental upset in the NBA, and filed this one under one of the worst beats of the entire year category. Paulie details next.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
NFL awards, fun night, rapid fire, 2 hours. I'm surprised how many people care and are upset. It's one thing if you have a bet on it. I can't believe the May got robbed talk and what happened on social media afterwards. Stafford MVP 35-1. The guy who voted for Herbert was asked who was second place then, and he didn't answer.
Well,
But it sounds, with his tweet though, it kind of seems to me that he went Herbert won May 2.
Yeah, that's some valuable information there.
And then 2 people had Josh Allen on first place votes.
Because if he actually was thinking about putting May first, that's a big swing in betting categories. I mean, I had
Yeah.
May 95-1.
Yeah. JSN, Offensive Player of the Year, 70-1. Edged out McCaffrey. A lot of people had a problem with Drewski, what he did. Maybe taken away from his moment. I know he's a comedian, but that was, right?
Can I say that? It's very likely I'm never going to watch that show ever again.
Okay. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, 8-1. Lock it up, unanimous, no problem. McCaffrey, Comeback Player of the Year, 3-1. Vrabel, Coach of the Year, 7-1. McMillan, Offensive Rookie of the Year, in a blowout, 12-1. Schlesinger, Defensive Rookie of the Year, 40-1. Good job. Saw a lot of the tickets afterwards on social media. I'm surprised they were only 8-1. The Wizards were 17-point dogs last night in Detroit. Won the game. First score I saw was 31-19. What a job by Washington. And it goes back to you cannot disrespect your opponent and take it easy as you're the best team in the league and a team comes limping in with, who are these guys? We made a bunch of trades, skeleton crew. Oh, we got our butts kicked.
I'll give you another example. No, they did not do that, but how did the Suns blow that game to the Warriors last night?
There's another one. I mentioned that on air, yeah.
And I'll give you this.
The Warriors have a track record of doing that too.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these guys? Oh, they lost. Oh, they won the game, yep.
The Wizards were how about this, Paulie? Since the year 2000, they became only the 7th dog of 17 points or more to win outright in the NBA.
Yep. Tough comeback, too, by the Lakers. They got there with the Malinsky special. Luka got hurt, and they still rallied. Good job by Luke, our producer. Lindenwood covered. So that's a 19-3 ATS run with his angle, where all the people have this team favored, but with their numbers, but what DraftKings makes the number. And got her up, first-round leader, 50-1. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com. Matsuyama with the lead right now. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. At Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. This is phenomenal. Goes back to the memory and how smart dogs are. Took the dog for a walk, and then one day, as he's hanging out, he got a treat from an employee at CVS. So now he goes back every single day and gets the treat and waits, knowing, hey, I went to the well one time, it paid off, and knows the whole routine. Knows how to go. I'll take my time. I know I'm going to get fed, go on the walk, and I know this person's got my back here when I walk right in. Allowed in the store. Sure, come on in. We'll give you a treat. No problem. That's awesome. And this one's great, too. Old friends hanging out. You see the old man helping out his I've been a German Shepherd before. They're so smart. They're loyal. They're what?
You guys got the ramp here for
Yeah,
them?
they're great. But, they get up there in age. The legs go, and they get up there and wait. The old friend helping out the German Shepherd with the ramp to get into the car, into the van. That's awesome. All right, give him a pat on that back, pat
Very
on
nice.
the forehead. There you go. That's excellent. And you sent this in. If you're sitting in section 103, the Hammer Burger is available. A fall off the bone, tender braised bone-in beef shank. Section 106, in the Eastfield Club. Look at that presentation. That is filthy.
Would
Wow,
you
is
attack
excellent.
that?
I'd attack it, absolutely. That looks great. How would you attack it, though, is the question.
I mean, I would be
that's your
dead
big
if
boy.
if I ate the whole thing.
Yeah. Choke an elephant.
I would try it for sure, but
Yeah.
there's, by the way, chestnut, how long? 30 seconds?
Yeah. Sonia Thomas, the Black Widow. Couple minutes. No problem. Here's what Mitch was talking about. An all-timer out here in Las Vegas. A moose and a half. Some spots had a 5.5.
Oh.
There were 5.5s out there. Most places 6. 4-1 Golden Knights. 4 minutes left first period. 4-1 final score. What? Impossible. That is sick. Sick beat.
What's the live in play at the end of the first period then? 9.5? Maybe higher than that probably, huh?
Or no, you're probably about right. 9.5, yeah. 9.5, 10.5, in that range.
And you're celebrating in the first
Can't
period.
get it. I know. For the line move, sharp plays already there. Huge weekend for the sharp plays. Follow them. Golf, props, Mr. Poison tweets, Super Bowl. What all the insiders are saying. Free reports, alerts, transparent results since 2011. Powered by advanced AI. The great sources. They track the sharp money on the sides, totals, and props before the number disappears. Jeff and the crew had it since 2011 with Follow the Money since day one. SharpPlays.com. Trusted by pros, monitored by the books. Give them a follow. Stay ahead of the line. AI plays up 50 units this year. SharpPlays.com. Okay, FTM at VSiN.com. FTM at VSiN.com, the email, or you can tweet at us or get on Instagram about where are you watching the game on Sunday. You know, there was a great line from Frank B. I'm just going to be at home. I don't like to go out in a group where you're watching the game with a lot of people who only watch one game the whole season, and you get asked some weird questions, or you're answering questions for much of the game. I'm also fascinated by how popular the coin toss is. I can't believe it. The handle and how people love betting that as well. And that's one of the biggest bets at BetMGM, as they talked about.
They actually have more bets on that prop than any other prop.
Isn't
right
that
now.
something?
Not more money, but just more
Yeah.
bets.
Is it? I think it's 31-28 heads.
Well, it's
right
the
now?
definition of instant gratification.
Like that. That's right.
And
This
then
is-
people, they can't wait to celebrate it when it comes in their way.
Here's one of our favorites, comedian Bill Burr, Boston guy, on his thoughts on the Super Bowl.
Got a plan? You going to have a Super Bowl party?
Yes, no Super Bowl party. No Super Bowl party. If you're a true football fan, you do not go to Super Bowl parties because it's all a bunch of losers who don't watch it all year. And what they do is they talk during the game, and then they shut up during the commercial. And then the game comes back, like, oh, how much do you think that one cost? Huh? That's funny? I thought that one stunk. And it's just like, the rage that goes through me through the game, and I just, ended up fighting, with somebody. So what I do is I tape the game. I let it go like 90 minutes. 90 minutes, I shut off everything, and then I start watching. That way I can fast forward through all of the crap, all of the fireworks, the bands.
You don't like the halftime show?
No. No. I really sound like a grumpy old man, but I just want to watch the game.
Right.
I'm just going to be me sitting alone screaming at my TV.
That'll be Patriot fan. That'll be him.
Yeah.
Just let me watch it in peace and don't want to be bothered, right? There you go. It's great. The rage that goes
I think it
through
sums
my-
it up for a lot of us.
It does.
Right.
What question? What?
Yeah, I will say I came up to the third floor here at Circa last year, and it was I don't even know how many people were up there, hundreds we'll say, and there's tons of TVs, great food stations,
Mm-hmm.
drinks, whatever. It was in a blowout like that. It was pretty fun. I actually had a good time because then you're around
that's
other
true.
people to
That is true.
kick around the conversation, maybe
Yeah.
live betting ideas, whatever. And I thoroughly enjoyed it up here last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do parties once in a while. I don't think I'm going to do a party this year. I don't know yet. My mom's in town, so I might watch with her. So I feel like kind of a jerk if I don't. Also, how about this text from our buddy Point Shaver a couple weeks ago?
Uh-huh.
He had a dream that it was he and his wife and me, like the last 3 people alive in some weird war with dead bodies everywhere, and I was calling him somewhere to put in MVP futures.
Come on. Oh, that's good.
It's an actual dream that he had.
He had an incident a while ago. Like 5 years ago, he had people over and he burned the chicken wings. And the smoke...
There's
it
a lot of
got out of
smoke
control.
alarm going on, and he's got to clear the room.
Almost burned the house down.
Well, that's no good.
Had a big incident over there.
Let me guess.
Long time
He's
ago.
probably, knowing him, he's probably still not over that.
That's right.
Probably
That one
still
time.
thinks about it.
Sure. And now no one can come over. I don't want to do that again.
Well, he's
Had
also,
everyone over and I burned the food.
like, no offense, he would agree to this if he was like in studio right now. He's also got massive OCD. So I've been to his house plenty of times watching games, great setup. There will be times where he's cleaning the
He'll
entire
clean the
time.
house.
And it's like,
I know. He'll
I'm
clean.
like, dude, I could
Shoes
eat.
off! Shoes
yes,
off!
I
Come
could
on.
eat this pizza off the floor right now.
know.
You can't get it any cleaner. Out of
I
my
know.
way.
Yep. I know.
Okay.
And it could be 20 degrees outside, and he'll have the doors and windows open.
Wide open. And he'll be
I need 2 blankets. He's got shorts on.
shorts and a tank top.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway,
Cleaning. Yeah, I know. Cleaning.
Yeah.
Mahomes got the ball, 2 minutes left.
I don't care. Give me the vacuum.
Yeah, I got that. I saw a spot.
I gotta do
saw
dishes.
A spot. I know.
You're
It's
killing me,
unfortunate.
man,
Hey, you
with
got
all-
the medication for that. It's okay. No problem.
All right. Great show still coming up over the next 2 hours. Adam Chertoff in 30 minutes. Duff McKagan, Guns N' Roses in an hour. Ryan Kramer in studio a little bit later on. We will get into tonight's hoops card coming up. These lines move so fast once injury news comes out. It can be tough to get a bet down even when you're staring at multiple screens and seemingly ready for it. I'll give you details on that next here on VSiN.